This week I want to show you 5 tips that you can use in Lightroom to improve your portraits. Yo, my name is Bradley Aston, and like I said in the intro, we are talking portraits this week. I'm going to show you my 5 top tips when it comes to doing portraits. These are things that I use on pretty much every single portrait I do. I don't do many professionally, but hobby-wise, I do plenty of them. So I'm going to show you my workflow and just a few of the tips and tricks that I use when editing in Lightroom. So, when I'm editing, I use a tablet and pen. That's how I'm going to do this. And I've already used the blemish removal tool just to get rid of any blemishes and to kind of clear up the skin a little bit. But we can go one step further with that by using the brush tool. Now, if we go over to the brush tool and we click on that, now just below here where it's got effect, if you click on that and go all the way down to the bottom, you can see here soft skin and soft skin light. Now, you can use soft skin light. I found soft skin is a little bit too strong, but really good for cracked lips. Now, I did actually learn this trick from a photographer called Ace, and I'll put his Instagram on the screen now. And this is a trick that he showed me during a Zoom call actually. And all it is you're just going to brush over the skin, and it's just going to soften it just enough without you going overboard and making them look plastic or too fake, or getting rid of all of the detail in the skin. Because at the end of the day, our skin have pores. We need to keep them there because, you know, it's natural. It's natural. It's going to be there. And if you get rid of it completely, it's going to look fake and it's going to look really, really weird. So all we're going to do is just brush over the entire face, or arms or legs, whichever, any part of the skin you want to soften. I've also found that this works really, really well on shirts that have creases in them as well. Sometimes the soft skin, not the light, the soft skin actually works really well for creases in clothes. And I have used it before on wedding photos. So yeah, definitely have a look at that as well and give that a go. So as you can see here, it's doing a pretty bang up job, just softening everything on the face, but without going too much. And yeah, I think that'll probably do it. To be honest, Charlotte's got really nice skin, so we've not got too much to really do here. And you can see there, if we turn this on and off, you'll be able to see the difference that it makes. It just kind of softens all those shadows, all the bits in between, softens the difference between the highlights going into the shadows, and it just makes the whole face look a little bit prettier, look a little bit more pleasing, and a little bit more high quality without going too far. Now, my next tip is a radial filter. Really, really simple. What I like to do is I like to come over here to the radial filter, and then I like to go up to exposure, and all we're going to do is just drag over the face, rotate it slightly so it fits. We're just going to invert it, and the idea is with portraits is the face is the dominant thing. The face is what you want to see. It's what you want the viewer's eyes to go to. So the brightest thing in your image is what you want to draw attention to. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to get the exposure tool and just brighten up her face just slightly. Doesn't need to be over the top, just a little bit brighter than everything else in the image. I think there will do. Turn that on and off. Now you can see here that it is lighting up a little bit of her hair. So all we're going to do is we're just going to bring up the feather a little bit, and you can see there that gets rid of that. It stops it affecting the hair just a little bit. Now, next is dodging and burning. Now, effectively, what dodging and burning is, dodging basically makes the highlights brighter, and burning makes the shadows darker where they need to be. Now, when you're beginning, it's difficult to tell where you should be dodging and burning, and it is a bit of a long process if you're going to do it correctly. So the easiest way to do this is, again, go back to your brush tool, you're going to collect new. Make sure that you've got new selected so you can give yourself a new brush. And all we're going to do is we're just going to select a different part of the face. Press O on your keyboard so that you can see your overlay. And all we're going to do is we're just going to brush the entire face. The entire face. I like to do the hair as well. I always come in and refine it a little bit afterwards. But for the case of this, we're just going to do it really quickly just to kind of show you what we've got. Come down here into the chest area. Make sure we're covering the whole face. Get the hair in. Get this hand as well. And make sure you're getting these highlights on the top. And what this is going to do is dodging and burning is just going to add a bit more of a dimension to a face, give it a bit more shape, a bit more characteristic. And like I say, you do this properly and it'll take you a little bit of time and a little bit of getting used to where you should be dodging and burning. This is really quick and easy to do. So once you've covered the entire selection, nice and simple like that, all we're going to do is turn off the overlay. And you can see here already it's increased the exposure just slightly. But what it's doing is if we turn it on and off, you'll see that it is actually affecting the shadows as well. And this is what we don't want. We just want it to affect those highlights. So we'll turn it on and we come down here to range mask. And where you've got range mask, you go on to luminance. And then all you're going to do is you've got your shadows this end and your highlights this end. We only want it to affect the highlights. So what we're going to do is we're just going to bring the shadows up here so it doesn't affect them. And I found around 70 tends to work the best for me personally. And now what you'll see when you turn it off is that the shadows aren't being affected as much, it's just the highlights. So that's your dodging. Now for your burning, what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in. Just right click on that and duplicate. Just move it up slightly so that way you can click it separately later on if you need to change anything. Let's go back to the full screen, and then what we're going to do is we're going to come up to the exposure and we're going to take it just below, again down to your range luminance mask, and we're going to bring the shadows all the way down because we want that to affect the shadows. But this time we're going to remove from the highlights, and again we want it to be around 30. I think that tends to work the best. I've been editing a few of these images, so it does vary on your image, but this is what's worked well for me. So now you'll be able to see if we turn this on and off, you can see the contrast in the face. It's boosted the highlights, it's kind of darkened those shadows a little bit. In fact, I think we can even darken those shadows a little bit more. Yeah, I would say so. So let's go back in and we're just going to darken those shadows even more. Yeah, let's really crush them. Let's make it really moody. Yeah, that's loads better. Really nice. So that's going to give some dimension to the face. So that's our third tip. Now my fourth tip. As you can see here on the nose, if we zoom in, you can see here that there's quite a hot spot on the nose where the light is really reflecting. It's a bit too bright for my liking, and we can actually remove these. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go over here to our spot removal tool, and we're just going to brush it on for now. And we're just going to go over the just over the top of that highlight there. And what we want to try and do is pick a part of the face that's similar in brightness. So if we go just above here on the nose, that'll work. Now obviously it doesn't look too great, but what we do is we make sure it's on hill, and then we bring our opacity down, and you just got to eyeball it from there. So me personally, I think about 55. About 55, maybe bring that feather down just a little bit as well. Yeah, so that's loads better on that nose. It's just cleaned up that highlight a little bit. And then we're going to do the same thing again, but just down the bridge of the nose here, not as extreme. So because we want to change your settings a little bit, we need to come off and then go back onto your spot removal. That way it's not going to affect the settings of both of the edits. It's just going to affect this one on its own. And all we're going to do is just a quick sweep just down along that highlight there. Really, really easy. Nothing too dramatic. Bring it just next to it there, because that's a decent spot to take from. And this doesn't need to be strong at all, I would say, because you've still got to keep the highlight there, because it's obviously the shape of the face. And I think around 14% looks nice. Yeah, so we've still got the shape of the nose, we've still got that highlight there, but we've removed that harsh highlight on the end of the nose. So superb, really like the way that's looking. So for my last tip is your composition. They're really easy. This is something you'll start to think about a lot more when you're taking the photos. If you're not, you can always do it here, but I would recommend to start thinking about this when you're composing your shots. And when you go into the crop tool, what you'll see here is you'll see these guidelines. Now, rule of thirds means that anything where these cross points are, or anything along this third row here, anything along the line or on the point of the line, that is where you want your focus to be. So you can see here that I've put her eye on this cross focus point. There's lots of different types of overlays. If you press O whilst in the crop tool, you'll get these different types of overlays come up for different types of compositions. And some of them are really interesting, but for simple portraits, you can kind of use this one, maybe recrop it so that it's on the eye there. But personally, for this image, I think we just keep it on the eye, on that third, and that line in line with the shoulder there. That looks really nice. And yeah, I'm happy with that. I think that looks really nice. So that is my 5 tips that I do for pretty much every single portrait. Really simple, really easy. You can do these whether you're a beginner, professional, it really doesn't matter. They're just quick and simple stuff to do. You get a really nice, high quality professional look using really simple tools. I highly recommend just using these. It's quick, it's simple, it gets the job done, and like I say, I use them on pretty much every single shoot or every single portrait that I edit. So I hope you've enjoyed this week's video, guys. It's been a bit of a different one. I've not done a Lightroom tutorial before, so if you do like it and you found it useful, feel free to drop a comment just below. Let me know, see if this is something you want me to do more of. As always, if you want to reach out, ask me any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, again, in the comment section below, or my Instagram, which I'll drop just up here. But apart from that, guys, that's everything for this week. Stick around, because next week I've got the studio's full of cakes at the moment, and we're doing a cake commercial. So so I'll be doing some behind the scenes for that. I think I might vlog it, we'll see. But that'll be what's for next week's video. So stick around, make sure you subscribe down below, clicking that bell notification, and drop me a like button if you've enjoyed the video. And hopefully I'll see you next week. Bye bye.